I am paging Dr. Shonda.
I am the Dr. Shonda.
And I'm a licensed clinical psychologist.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Paging Dr. Shonda podcast, all things related to the Black culture.
Got the doctor in front of your name.
What's up, family? It is Dr. Shonda. Tune in for another episode of Paging Dr. Shonda. All you have to do is keep watching. But listen, if you're just watching from the outside, just peeking through the window, I need you to commit. Come all the way in the house, and I need you to subscribe, like, and shoot me a comment in the comment section. I love responding to all of your comments. I love listening and reading how much you guys enjoy the topics that I'm talking about. So yeah, do me a favor, like, comment, subscribe, and join the tribe.
Stop scrolling for 1 second. This month, we are bringing back the psychology of Black women, the online class brought to you by yours truly, Dr. Shonda, licensed clinical psychologist. Y'all, I've been getting so many questions about why anxiety and depression presents differently in Black women. What do we do about it? How can we start to combat this? And what are some of the reasonings behind it? Listen, if you are a Black woman who has questions about anxiety and depression, it's something you experience or something your loved ones experience, or if you're a professional who works with Black women who experience anxiety and depression, I promise you this class is for you. Make sure that you sign up today.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? You are now tuned in to Paging Dr. Shonda, where we engage in meaningful conversation to encourage you to self-reflect. I'm your host, Dr. Shonda. I am a licensed clinical psychologist, content creator, show host, and so many other things. And I have the pleasure of being back with you for another season of Paging Dr. Shonda. I'm excited for this first season back in action because, one, this hiatus has been killing me, y'all. Like, it's so dreadful not being able to talk to y'all on a day-to-day basis because I genuinely enjoy it. And two, this episode is so action-packed. We have live interviews from Meagan and Corey Hardrict, as well as my good sis, Brittany Broaddus, who is a sex and relationship expert. Before we hop into today's topic, I want to give you first a brief overview of what we'll be discussing. We're going to be talking the psychology of divorcing the Black. If that title sounds familiar to you, that's because Tyler Perry literally just had a movie come out about maybe a month ago, specifically titled Divorcing the Black, starring Meagan and Corey Hardrict. In this specific movie, listen, Tyler Perry has had the girlies in a headlock because I noticed how on TikTok and on Instagram, my whole timeline was flooded with the funeral scene and things that Meagan should have done, or Ava, or things that Dallas should have done, also played by Corey Hardrict. Y'all literally have been giving y'all full-on analysis, your conceptualization of what this movie meant to you, how intense you thought it was, how triggering it was for a lot of people. And I noticed that because a lot of people have experienced trauma in relationships, some people may have experienced divorce that was really relationally traumatic. People may have experienced lots of different things that have been triggered as a result of watching this movie. So I figured it would have been really dope to be able to sit down with Meagan and Corey Hardrict about this. And I was able to do so due to my good friends and my relationships at the Essence Festival of Culture. We were there for the 30th anniversary. And so, yeah, they set that up for your girl. So you'll see myself and my twin sister interviewing Meagan and Corey Hardrict. So we're going to transition into that. Let me know what y'all think about it in the comments.
Got the doctor in front of your name.
So excited to be here with the both of you. Meagan
Yes.
Corey Hardrict. First of all, what is different about this movie that you guys recently did?
What's different about
What's
the
different? Yeah.
A lot of things.
As far as these projects, yeah.
Okay.
I would say the pacing.
Okay.
Mr. Tyler Perry's too fast, but it's also of great quality. It's an elevated project. A lot of times when people shoot fast, it's like they're quick, trying to move. But the quality, the cinema, the artistic, all the value, the texture was there to the next level. So shout out to Mr. Tyler Perry for that.
Yeah.
And he let us do our thing.
And he let us do our thing.
And the world's gonna love this movie July 11th.
Yes. I'm excited.
They're gonna love it.
I'll be there.
Yeah. I would say that's the biggest thing too, is the pacing, which was definitely a challenge, but one that we were up to. And to be honest, we had a lot of fun. Like it just working with Tyler, working with the cast. the whole experience was one that we loved and that we would definitely do again. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering specifically for this movie, what was it like for you to have to play these parts while also going through public divorces for the both of you?
Say it again. Can you repeat the question?
Yeah. So what was it like for you to have to play this part while also going through public divorces? Like, what was that like?
Well, we're artists.
Yeah.
I'm an actor.
Yeah.
So whether public or whatever the case may be, I would have still did the movie because it wasn't a great script, you know. So let's remove the name from it. I'm doing a movie. So, you know, we actors and actors act. And to get an opportunity to work with the amazing Tyler Perry, who's changed people's careers and lives, you know, that's a dream come true. And I'm sure Meagan can say the same thing.
Yeah.
We love to do great work, and this was a great script, and we went in, and that's it.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that you know, it's obviously you have a rich well to draw from, but ultimately, at the end of the day, you're just trying to find the heartbeat of the characters, find where they live, where they are right now specifically in their journeys, and yeah, I mean, the biggest thing is just being able to be authentic and to be honest and to, and for me, I love the idea of just like when women see this movie, them feeling empowered about the second stage of their life and about, and about them.
Like I said, what Megan's saying. I cut you off.
Oh no, you got brother. Go ahead.
It is about women empowerment and giving women strength. You know, because women and black women are the backbone of this world. And this movie, you know, will kind of highlight that, especially through Megan's performance that she gave. You know, she's going to change a lot of lives, even though she didn't get into it trying to do that. It's just going to be what it's going to be. You know.
Love that.
Shout out to Dallas, though, a little bit. He's vulnerable.
So, and how are you both similar to your characters, and how are you different to your characters?
You know, I don't know if I'm similar to Ava, but one similarity for sure is family. You know, having your family there for you, covering you no matter what, unconditional love, support, having that best friend that will tell you the truth. You know, all those things. So in that sense, I think her, my community and my support system is similar to Ava's. Yeah.
And it's my turn? Oh, so how is Dallas and Corey similar?
They're not.
They have a heart.
They have a heart.
They have a heart.
Well, we love that.
And that's it.
Period. Thank you guys for joining us.
Thank you so much.
This new movie on July 11th.
July 11th, Amazon Prime Video.
Hey.
Not miss it. Biggest movie in the world because Meagan Good is in it and Corey Hart's in it. Shout out to Miss Debbie Morgan, Richard Lawson, Shannon Wallace, Joe, Taylor Palador. Shout out to Miss Tyler Perry.
Yes.
We love you, sir. We'll see you soon.
Amazing.
Yes, let's go.
You got the doctor in front of your name. You got the doctor in front of your name.
All right, so she is no stranger to the show. Y'all know my good sis, Brittany Broaddus, soon to be Dr. Brittany Broaddus. Period.
Come on, Lord.
The sex and relationship expert. And I can't help but to notice your necklace that you have on today.
Yes, this is my uterus necklace. I actually got it from Honey Pot Co. They
Okay.
did a couple years ago. They were selling these like uterus necklaces, and I bought like so many of them to give out as gifts now to my sexologist friends.
Okay. So she's a whole sexologist here. Can you tell the people what that means?
Yes. So a sexologist is essentially an expert in the study of human sexuality.
Expert.
And the study of sex, the field of sexology. That makes me a sexologist, but as a Christian sexologist, the number one Christian sexologist. And Google. It's the same thing, an expert in human sexuality, but also paired with a Christian understanding of God's heart for sex, intimacy, and relationships.
I'm here for that. And that's why I couldn't think of any other person to have this conversation with today. Aww. Because we're talking divorce in the black. And so just by that reaction, I want to hear, and I know you sent me your reaction, your video reaction. What was your initial reaction after watching the show, the movie?
You know, it's difficult when it comes to movies that are like heavy, like relationships and things like that. I kind of have to watch it twice. Like I watch it first just for like a regular like lay person for the entertainment of it all, and then I watch it back a second time for like my clinical respond because my mind be all over the place watching it together. So my initial reaction, I watched it like the second it was available, was like, Tyler, what? Whoa! And I am, OG Medea's Class Reunion, I Could Do Better by Myself, Was Done in the Dark, like OG Tyler Perry fan from the plays to the movies, everything. But this one was like, Tyler, is everything okay at home? Because,
so what about it made it feel like that?
Because it was a lot.
Okay.
And you know what I mean? And then as a clinician, I want to be able to say, like, when you see the stuff on social media about how unrealistic it is and things like that, and how they're tired, a lot of people are tired of like the same trope that he kind of uses in a lot of his films. But unfortunately, there is still a sect of our world where this is not unusual. He takes the things that we understand as stereotypes about the Black lived experiences and like turns them up to 10,000. Like, we all have known or said or heard a joke about Black funerals.
Yeah.
Like,
yes.
But that funeral scene was like,
it was
whoa, like that, you know, that gift is like, whoa. I turned on, and for 5 minutes I was like, and I'm watching it by myself, but looking around my room like, is anybody else seeing it? It was wild. Mother took her clothes off. She was standing in the middle of the church in her slip. She took the body out the cage. It was a lot. But I also know that my grandmother acts am I allowed to say fool?
Yes.
A fool at funerals. Like, I don't sit next to her because the way, like my aunt's funeral, she came down for the final family processional and like her legs locked up. And then my aunt came out the pews, pushed people out the way like, I'm not sitting down till my mom can feel her legs, like yelling at the top of the thing. So as terrible as or wild as that scene was, we can see it's not as unrelatable as some folks. It's extreme, but it's not as unrelatable as it seems. And I know we are tired of some of the relationship experiences, like the Black women struggle first, get rescued, have a lovely life, and all. We're tired of that narrative,
right?
But are we not still living that narrative?
And I think that was the point that he made recently. He had an interview with Keke Palmer about like who says what stories are important.
Right.
And so I think what you're speaking to is like, yeah, it's extreme, but it's not far-fetched for us.
Yeah. We don't like, and I think what stings the most is how relatable it actually is.
It's
like
triggering,
we are tired of the struggle of entry into happiness for Black women.
Yeah.
We're tired of that. But it's still existing.
Yeah.
Like, Kevin Samuels wasn't that long ago.
No.
And his remnant, and may he rest the people who won't speak ill of the dead. But his minions, the remnants.
Oh, his legacy is still here.
It's still here.
Still very much active.
It's still here, and we don't like that. We don't like that we have to be rescued.
Yep.
But it's like wherever you want soft life, there is someone coming in to rescue. There is a Sheriff Troy in all of our worlds. Like, and some of the Sheriff Troys are white men because that's a thing that's coming along now. But it's like, again, it's one of those things where we don't like it. It may not be everybody's lived experience. I think that is another one of the critiques that he gets is that it's almost as if somebody decided that he speaks for all Black people.
Yeah.
But the Black lived experience, Black people are not monoliths. And so he speaks to a particular population of Black people, a subculture of Black people. And that is why his movies and things do the numbers that they do.
Yeah.
Because people enjoy it, are entertained by it. We hate that Black pain is entertainment, but it is what it is.
And it's what also it sells. Like he had the internet in a chokehold
every time, like, and that's the thing. Like we don't recognize that. I guess the whole thing, all publicity is good publicity. Like the movies are going to, if people are not interested in their movies, and when jokes come up about the Tyler Perry wigs, people are going to watch it to see the wigs, and it's going to shoot up, and it's going to be numbered. So the reality of it is, the box office, the stream numbers show what is of interest. So really, if we are truly tired of this viewpoint or this concept or this storyline, we have to stop watching it.
I don't think we'll do that though.
It's not going to have same thing with reality TV. We hate the way reality TV portrays us, but yet we we watch it so much. We have taken those characters to places of fame and excitement. Like it's a certain thing that gets the views, that gets the clicks, that gets the likes. And once we decide that we really want to change, it will show in the way we spend our money and the things that we watch and the things that we consume. And this is not like a blame thing, but the reality of it is, as much as people want to say that they take issue with these things, their behaviors show otherwise.
Absolutely. So what would you say in terms of like this relationship dynamic? Divorce in the Black, we have Ava, played by Meagan Good, who looked amazing throughout the entire movie. Baddie, right?
Bad
like
Mama
did not
Jamma.
age a second.
Okay.
And we have Corey Hardrict. And despite his role, I think he did his big one.
Oh, listen, to the point where people and myself are like, was you acting or is this you? Tia, call me.
Yes. Like Tia got some questions to answer. Like, we gotta know a few things about our boy Corey.
Because we say, we grew up, she's like, we just grew apart and that season came to. Why though?
Right.
Why though? Because he did it really well. And I don't know Corey Hardrict to be like that groundbreaking and phenomenal of an actor. Not that there's anything wrong with him, but like I don't know any pieces that he that like took me in. But honey,
this
Dallas
took us all in.
We
was in.
Dallas was such a tortured soul, and that's again the difference when watching it as from entertainment and then from a clinician. I was like, oh, who hurt that baby?
Well, that's what I want to talk about, because obviously he was dealing with some hurt.
Absolutely.
He took it out in his relationship.
Absolutely.
And I'm wondering if you can draw for the listeners and viewers, as a relationship expert, how does childhood trauma impact adult relationships?
It's a direct impact. From childhood trauma, your attachment styles and attachment fractures, until you have a corrective emotional experience, you will continue to rehearse those patterns that you see, that you've seen in your life, what you understand, because he there was some, sometimes Tyler Perry storylines you'll see lines that'll be this big, like, revelation of some things, but then he don't necessarily spend the black on it, but he mentioned, like, killing his dad and how his dad used to beat on his mom and things like that. So and then his brothers are known across the town for their, like, brute, like, aggression and all of that. So when you have strong emotions, when someone has done you wrong, in order to exert control over your situation, you use violence, you use aggression, you use, yelling, you withhold, you manipulate, you control. And so that is all, he was not, it doesn't appear that he was ever taught to speak his mind, ask for what he wants. He wasn't even allowed to dream to be anything different. If you, he was the only one that graduated from high school out of his family, out of his brothers. But if at the, in the bar, initial bar scene, when Ava was trying to get Dallas to go back home, and the younger brother was like, he don't need that daggone job. I said, I'm sorry.
Right. He did say that.
I'm sorry. You know what? And that's the thing. If we look at that, like, we don't need that, because they're in their feelings. And then, like, with the mom, I don't need these clothes. We don't even need these caskets. Her feelings were hurt. She was embarrassed. She was all those things. So now I'm going to act like I don't need you. I don't need nobody. We good. We all we got. And so they've created this kind of vacuum where they are all they know, all they see, which means the thoughts, the beliefs, the hurts, the pains are echoed throughout the entire family. So pulling him out of that situation, placing him in Atlanta without ever being able to do the work to heal those wounds, he just continued the behavior in a new place. And what held a mirror to the fact, like, that this is not okay, is that Meagan was raised different. And most times, that is when we begin to recognize that the way our family did things, the way life was for us, is probably may not have been the best, and may not be typical when we get to see other folks. And it was that mirror to one another. You have, like, a seemingly healthy family, 2-parent household, church-going family, the good girl, the one, like, when we want to talk about things, we want to sit down, we want to unpack, we want to love, we want to be patient, we want to be kind, fruit of the spirit. That was like, man,
You brought up like a point though, because like he basically like, yeah, you took him from this broken environment, moved him to Atlanta. I heard everybody saying like, well, when I move to Atlanta, everything's gonna be okay, But you're saying like if you don't fix whatever the system is, like whatever is broken, you're gonna repeat those same behaviors in whatever environment you move to.
Same behavior, different zip code. Every single time. My mom used to say, God rest her soul, wherever you go, there you are.
Oh,
and so
that was a word.
Okay, go ahead, Mama. We love you. But yeah, so it is that, like I said, that corrective emotional experience, meaning like something that happens to you where you learn or develop the skill to break, that is utilized to break the pattern. Yeah. And then you have to decide that I'm not going to do whatever I used to do because it isn't really serving me at the end of the day. Yes. And we see that, like, I don't believe that he would have went through with the divorce. I believe that was his family speaking. He was echoing the voice of his family. They were egging him on. It was definitely his family who sent him the picture of Ava and Benji at the park, which also, like, where they were in the middle of nowhere. Where did that come from? How did you get that picture? Like, that's neither here nor there. Right. Neither here nor there. But that, and then on the phone they were like, "You getting that divorce, right? You get like," and so in this family, you do what you're told, and there's a hierarchical structure. The oldest brother, he died. You remember the next oldest said, "I'm the older brother now, so you do what I say." And so whatever that is, whether good or bad, you're going to follow suit, regardless of what you think and feel. What is deemed by me or by the mother, and that in some cases as the good of the family, respecting the family, loyalty to the family, you're going to have to do, even if it does not match what you think, feel, or believe. And then what you see with Dallas is he felt like Meagan was trying to change him, and then also he was beholden to even his family. And so he never got a chance to just be.
Yo, this is why I had you on, because I knew you would, like, break down in the system of everything was going on. Because you're bringing up a great point about how oftentimes when we are traumatized, our families, our parents can cause us to, the relationships can be so enmeshed that it impacts our romantic relationships. Absolutely. Has that something that you ever seen or experienced yourself?
Yes, absolutely. That. So the thing loyalty is a thing that we really misappropriate a lot of times, and it's an identity issue. I think there's this collective identity issue in our world where we really only understand ourselves in proximity to others. And so in many cases, it is our family. Like when your family has a personality, your family has a reputation. And when we define ourselves, I'm the black sheep of the family. The family is the center. Yeah. The family sets the tone for what is good, right? And then you define yourself when how closely you line up to that. Like when we think about even societally, like white supremacy that says that whiteness is the center, right? Which that's even when we think about like America and things like the West and the East and all those things is based on where America is centered. But when we look at the globe, that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, but that's a great point though.
And so and then everything else kind of similarly mirrors in that way. So you decide, like when we make judgment calls about people, places, and things, we've decided what is right, what is good, and then everything else is defined by its proximity to that center. Yeah. And so when we look at enmeshed relationships, we don't know how to differentiate ourselves from the person, from the place, from the situation, from the family. Like we are so in relationship, we are so interconnected to this individual that I don't know where they start and I end. Like it's, you know what I'm saying? And so then a lot of times our wants, our needs, our desires, our fears, our pains are just parroted versions of something that we've heard before. We've never had an opportunity to sit and decide what I want. So then when I get into a relationship, I will, even if I detach from that family unit, I look for more enmeshment in this one because I don't know what it means to be autonomous.
Yeah, autonomy becomes scary to that person.
Absolutely, because I have to make decisions. There's a responsibility to autonomy and agency.
Absolutely,
right? And so when we do things like, this is an extreme example, but when we have our children sit at the table and make them eat food that they either don't want or beyond that they're full feeling until they clean their plate, right? We eventually begin to teach them that they don't understand. You don't know your body like I know your body, so you're going to listen to me in one way or another. So then they connect in relationships with people, wanting them to also tell them what they should think, feel, and believe about their body, ignoring what their body is telling them. But this can't be right. I shouldn't trust my gut feeling. I knew I was full before, but I was forced to eat. So now I don't know what I know. I don't know what I want. I need somebody else to tell me that. And that's how we find those relationships where it's like, are you okay? Like, people ask a question like, oh, would you like to go to? And they like, checking in, do I want to go there? Do I like that? And a lot of times you see that in domestic violence relationships too. You don't want to make no moves. Like, is everything okay? Am I allowed to go? But it's this impossibility. Like, there's no differentiation. There's no individuation in their understanding of self in the relationship. It's only as far as proximity to whoever the one that is in control in that scenario. So like with the Bartrands, the mom was the center. Yeah. And the family name was there. And so everything that they did, every way that they were defined was in proximity to that family name, to the point where behaving appropriately, following laws, being kind, having a job, graduating was, oh, you acting brand new, you think you better than us.
This is my friend, y'all. This is my friend. No, for real, because the way you're kind of like dissecting and conceptualizing this, I think when we saw it on screen, it may seem really extreme, but how you're defining it, I know people every day that's experiencing that.
Oh, absolutely.
Like,
absolutely.
This is not that far-fetched.
Absolutely. We see it in friendships.
Yep.
We see it, there's a very popular duo that is
Say
no
the
longer,
name.
I will not, that is no longer a duo, that when I watch, it wasn't as evident when they were together, but how the fallout of their breakup is showing, there was some enmeshment. There was some enmeshment there, for sure.
Remind me to ask you who.
Okay. Look.
Yes, I 100% agree. And the interesting thing is, it doesn't always happen in romantic relationships.
No. Platonic, friendship breakups, friendship toxicity, it's especially long-term ones. Yeah, like those like day ones, and that is a problem. That's why that whole no new friends thing is a problem. Like, but that's not what we're talking about today. But like imagine only being relegated to the people that you met in a certain place in your life. Like, you have so much more life to go, so many more places to see, so more things to accomplish. You're going to be in different rooms and spaces and cultures where closing yourself off to new experiences, new friendships, new people that can show up for you and love you is, it's a trust issue. Like, we afraid. Yeah. We're afraid because we have to protect ourselves. So no new friends is not like a loyalty thing as much as a guarded, protected thing. And that we see that a lot of times where it's like, I want to create this environment where this is my ecosystem. Yeah. Nothing additional, nothing reduced. Nothing. Right here is what I know, what I feel, what I need. Anything else is a threat to my equilibrium. Yeah. Because that also changes me, and it would require me to do something different, to be different. And that's work. Who wants to grow? Exactly. Like, honestly, let's be for real.
Exactly. And the people around them get uncomfortable.
Absolutely.
Because you're changing the temperature.
Absolutely.
In the system.
Absolutely. Their expectations change. Yep. If your interests change. We see that in marriages. Like, you've been married for a long time, and that whole that whole ear thing used to send you over the moon. Now every time that ear get ready to come, you want to cry because you hate it so bad. But it's like, we've been rocking this way. We've been doing the ear thing for 17 years. What you mean you don't like it? Because I just don't like it anymore. And I'm allowed. So we have to, in all relationships, give people the space and grace to evolve. It's selfish and manipulative to expect and require people to be the same way forever. And then most people I want you to stay the exact same so I know what to expect, but let me grow and move and change. And then you have to respond to my changes, but you don't get to change.
Yeah. So, okay, I think that's the perfect pivot to Miss Ava. Because we love Meagan Good, but that Ava, I wanted to jump through the screen.
Baby, the way I said, girl, like so many times. I scream, like every couple of minutes, girl, please, Ava, like, girl, get up. Like,
if you could
stand up.
Right.
Ooh.
If you could have a therapy session with Ava.
My.
What would you focus on?
First and foremost, honestly, my first thing would be like, you need to have your friend back up a little bit.
He was enmeshed with his family. She was enmeshed with that friend.
That, I don't know if they were necessarily enmeshed as much as that friend they lacked boundaries.
Yes, she was talking too much.
Yeah, it's way too much, way too involved, way too aggressive. She did not respect or honor any of Megan's wishes. Megan said regularly, like often said, no, I don't want to, no, thank you. And she kept pushing. And there's a fine line in friendships where when y'all 10 told them they was best friends for 17 years, like I know you saying no. Like if I got something going on, right? You like if you'd have asked me when I was in the hospital, and if you'd have said, you want me to send you something, what would I have said?
No.
As girl, so you didn't even ask me what hospital, what's the room number, and then and you did what you did, which I appreciate. I love you. Let me tell you that. But you know that if I ask you, you're not going to do it. But I know that you need these things, so I'm a show up. So there's a little bit of freedom and leeway to be intrusive when you are that type of friend. But there were times in that moment where she needed to say, what do you need from me? Here's what I'm going to do, and whatever else you need, different more or less, let me know. She decided what type of support she was going to offer, and probably coming from a good place. She wanted to rescue her friend from that situation. She wanted her friend to believe that she deserved better. She'd been watching it for all of this time. She was sick of it. I get it, but that, like, when she decided to spend the night, or said that she was going to like try to force herself to spend the night that night, when Megan kept saying, I don't want this. I don't need this. And then that divorce party was absolutely ridiculous. And like there was a lot of the time that my conversation with Ava would have been like trying to get her to the place where she exercises her voice again. Because you saw in that, or even finding what her voice is. Like she spent so much time living up to her parents' expectations as a child. Then she, had to behave in a certain way, and again, proximity to that friendship that she had with the young lady. And then whatever she was trying to do to make a successful marriage with her in Dallas, it was like, it would have been like, well, what do you want?
Yeah.
What do you want? Who are you?
So if you were to meet with both couples, so Dallas and Megan, couples therapy, what would be the first homework assignment that you would give them?
It's tough with that one because I know that there is active domestic violence. When there is, that's kind of contraindicated for therapy. So if I could take the domestic violence, because my first thing was like, you need to get to safety. Like, blink twice. Like, okay. But for me, it would be that same question. Yeah. What do y'all want? Because y'all are playing a role. Y'all are going through the motions of husband, going through the motions of wife. Dallas, you feel like a fish out of water in Atlanta, away from, your family. Because despite what the movie may show, nobody's running back and forth from Alabama to Atlanta that
was
quickly.
Wild. That was so wild. It was wild.
Please don't upset my spirit. Anyway, but
and even when there was like an emergency, when they was about to
stay right there. I'm on my way, but you're not though. Actually,
we'll be there in 4 hours.
An hour and 15 minutes. I'm dead. I'm actually dying.
Confused.
I've bled out now because what? And I get it. It's not that far in the grand scheme of things, but when we think about being pulled out of your what you're used to, an hour and a half is that's a long time.
Yeah.
That's a long time because it's like you can't just hop there. You can't just get there. You have to plan for a 3-hour commute, you know, to have it there and back. And so I think that would have been my first thing. Like we would have to establish what is it that you truly want.
Yeah.
Like not what you think you should say. I don't want to hear what you think you should say. I don't want the rehearsed good, you know, woman of God, loyal, you know, I'm a protector provider. Like I don't want that.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? I want to know what you want. And when we look at what you want, how does what you currently have in your relationship align with the hope and dreams that you have for your future? And if the plan is one another, if the things that we want, that they want is one another, now how do we get there? And we just start from, like, we want a happy, healthy marriage. Cool. What is making your marriage not happy or healthy right now? What brings you the most stress and angst in a relationship as it stands? And we are like, I am a very much, you know, start from the beginning. You got out the car, like I am. I like from go because that's a lot of like. Even though what I do is coaching and not therapy, my training when I was a therapist is very solution focused.
Yeah.
You know, so we're not finna be in here all day spinning the block, all in the theoretical. You know, I could do that sometimes too, but when we're talking about what we right here, that feeling, we need to
practical, right?
Practical steps. And the thing is that for me, practical is effective in situations like, because there is trauma, right? There's stuff that we need to unpack. Honest to God, the Holy Ghost needs to work and clean some of that up. Right. But while he's doing the new thing, right, there are things that we also need to do. And I find that the practical is the intangible people can apply when they are the most confused. When we're too heady, theoretical, like and abstract, I don't know how this fits in my right now. But if I have it practical and hands-on, when we get home, we got in the argument, like, okay, Brittany said, what is it that I want? So I could check in, like, okay, I really do not want to go to dinner because I have to finish my paper. Okay, Dallas, I need to finish my paper, and so I can't go to dinner with you. If you would like to go to dinner, that's fine. If you want to stay home, have dinner, let's order in. I can do this till 10 o'clock, and then I'm going to do my paper after that. And that's not to say that every single time it's going to work, but you have
That's good though.
You have a blueprint.
Yeah.
And then also that makes practical, allows for more accountability. Because it's concrete things that we've discussed, that we've agreed on. Because after we go through what do you want, how does this fit, what do you need, blah, blah, blah. Then at the end of it, I'm like, okay, so we agree that if X happens, you'll respond this way.
Right.
If B happens, you'll respond this. If we get to a point where we don't know if we're doing A or B, we'll ask a question instead through text message instead of, on the phone, because and most times y'all on the phone, y'all end up yelling, but through text, you can think through your thoughts. And everybody can agree to that? Yes. Okay, cool. So now when they get home, it's like, hey, this is what we agreed on. And again, may not work out. Some people are like, man, forget that agreement. But there's accountability. And when there's accountability, we know where we missed the mark at. Like if there's no concrete stuff, if there's no concrete plan, if there's no agreed upon whatever, how do we define what wrong or off is? Yeah. Because then it becomes subjective.
Right.
When we agree to this, there's no subjectivity.
Right.
It's yes, either you did it or you didn't.
Yeah. It sounds like I'm hearing you say, to those who are experiencing, even though the relationship may not be as tumultuous as Divorce in the Black, figuring out what you want.
Absolutely.
And learning how to communicate that.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, there's no standard that you're holding your partner to.
Absolutely not. And then there's a lot of rehearsed, premeditated bitterness, resentment. There are things like I see a lot of times, especially like the quiet women, like the grin and bear type of wife, where I don't ask for much because they, somewhere they told the one who don't ask for everything, nothing deserves everything, which is crap. But that's neither here nor there. But, I don't ask for anything, so when I do ask you for this one thing, it shouldn't be a problem. Yeah. But the reality of it is, if you've never asked for anything, your partner does not know that there were things that you wanted that you didn't ask for. They don't know that you left them off the hook with, whatever pressure that you feel like you're keeping off of them. Right. They don't know that. And so secretly you think, you're choosing your battles, but what you're really doing in some cases is you got a secret tally sheet. Every single time that you could have said something, every single time that you wanted to ask for something, every single time that, you went somewhere with them where you really wanted to do something else, you keeping a score. And then that means that same pressure and energy you bring in when you do finally ask for something, it's like, oh, you owe me. But they don't know what's going on. Like they're like, what? I'm saying no on a clean slate. Clean slate. I don't know what and that doesn't make any sense where you are having feelings about someone, angry with people for not meeting expectations that you never ever expressed. Oh my gosh. Expectations and boundaries that aren't expressed don't exist.
That part. Listen, the way that you have gathered even me today, because I'm like, am I setting expectations that?
We all do it though.
Yeah.
We all do it because we want somebody told us that a person who reads our mind really knows us.
Yeah.
Like I shouldn't have that. Like we'd be like, I don't want you to buy me flowers. I want you to want to buy me flowers.
Right.
Or a real man would just know. Like, no. Dr. Shamira says, use your mouth. Speak up. Speak up. We let closed mouths don't get fed. Y'all remember that?
Right.
Like we don't. Some of the old stuff is insane, but that's good. If you just want to be hungry around me, you just gonna be hungry because I'm not reading your mind. Now there are some things that intuitively I may do out of the kindness of my heart, but if there is something that you want, need, and desire, if there's a behavior or a habit that I have that is impacting, and this again romantic or platonic, if I'm doing something that is bothering you, I mean rubbing you raw, and you never say nothing to me, you're beefing with yourself.
Yeah.
Because it can't be that serious if you're not saying it.
It can't be that serious if you're not saying it.
Yes.
I think that's the perfect point to drive home to the listeners and to wrap up there, because that's, what were you about to say?
I mean, because I want to also make caveat,
ahead.
like, and since we're talking about divorce in the black, some things that she might have said, he might have like hauled off and slapped in the mouth. So you have to be mindful.
Yeah.
And no, because there's certain, every type of salient point has when applied to, eventually will apply to a scenario that's like, this is not going to work there.
Right.
But for the most part, if you have to ask her that. So let me say it like this. Ask yourself, is it really that bad? If you are continuing in a relationship with this person and never saying anything to them about the harm that they're doing to you.
Okay, so that's great homework. So repeat that again.
If you continue in a relationship with this person and they're continuing to harm you in this way that you've deemed as inappropriate and it still hurts you, is it really that bad?
Okay. So asking ourselves that, assessing that.
Yeah.
And if it is that bad, make moves.
Or if it is that bad and you still in it, then now that's a conversation for you and your therapist. Like, why am I continually opening up myself up to this relationship that continuously causes me harm? This person is continuously taking advantage of me. This person, in no uncertain terms, made it clear that they are here in my life to take. And so if you don't do anything about it, then you signed up willingly and signed a contract to the pain that is experienced in this situation.
Some of y'all got some contracts that y'all need to break and burn. And
please. Revoke.
Yes.
Privileges revoked.
Period. Dr. Brittany, soon to be Dr. Brittany.
Please do it, Lord.
Thank you so much for dropping by today.
Thank you.
Yes. No, it was. I let you dodge the question that I asked about what you experienced, but it's okay. We're gonna save that.
You didn't ask me.
I did.
When did you ask me that?
A couple questions ago.
About me personally?
Yeah.
What I experienced in divorce.
Yeah.
So, okay, I'll say it like this. One of the things, Divorce in the Black highlighted major differences in how my divorce went and others, right? I did not have, they had a lot of family involvement, which can be very, very dangerous or detrimental to somebody trying to heal from such a huge relationship fracture like a divorce. She had her parents trying to set her up 15 minutes after he asked for the divorce. She had a friend forcing her to have this party and celebrate and move along faster than she actually wanted to. And then she had this person, which was really odd for a Tyler Perry movie, because Sheriff Troy is normally like a good guy. I didn't see Benji as that good. Like, he was one of those ones that played good on TV, but in real life was an opportunist because he know good and well that lady was under the influence.
Oh, absolutely.
After that party, he should not have slept with her in that house. And so that's the thing. Like, you know, some people move on too fast. Some people have too much family involved, too many people in their ear. When we separated, I was intentional about who I told that we were separated. I let my children know because we were being separate houses. My pastor and first lady knew because they were counseling us. And then his niece knew because when we went to counseling, she watched the kids, and his mom knew because he stayed at her house. Okay. And I was intentional about that. And a lot of people, key people in my life, were actually offended that I did not tell them about what was going on. But at the time, I didn't know what was going on. When you are going through a divorce, the early stages of divorce, like your world is literally upended. I was married for 10 years.
That's a long time.
A full-on decade. Wow. Like my world was literally, what is this? This is not reality. Yeah. I do not understand what's happening in front of me. The sensations that I was feeling in my body. You saw it even with Meagan. Like, she went from crying to confusion, and then that list that her friend wrote was so invasive and inappropriate, but that's neither here nor there. Then she wanted to be baby, which was cool. We all wish we had parents that we could run, back to. She had that. Then she was like, I don't have time for this, to Benji, like, no. And then within days, she went from I don't have time to this to I want you to make love to me to, I don't need to be involved with nobody. In that same experience, like, her emotions were all over the place. My emotions were all over the place. So I did not want to bring anybody else into my chaos until I knew what was happening. So at every step where things changed, like when we went from separation to final divorce, I shared when things were concrete. Okay. Because then, in my hope, I was going back home. And so what I'm gonna tell all of these people for, just to be, a month or so later, then we heard up again, heard up. And like, girl, and I never wanted to be that one. Like, when y'all fighting, forget him, and then days later they back together. I didn't want to do that. Like, and I fully believed I was, going home. And I just think that family involvement, that intrusive friend, moving on to a new relationship too quickly, it hindered Megan's experience. And if we were more to the movie, I don't know that her and Benji would have lasted, because she just came into herself. And that was the experience that I have. I've not dated really since my divorce, because 36-year-old Brittany, not married, living on her own for the very first time in my whole adult life. I never had to bills. What? Right. It's, you know what I'm saying? Like, I had my phone bill, but now I have to budget and plan and, going from a 2-income home to a 2-parent household. Like, I don't have nobody to can you get them kids? And I don't have a built-in babysitter. Like, all of those things about my life and my world changed, but I learned who I actually was. Yeah. Right? So those two things, marriage and divorce, will hold a mirror to who you truly are, what you're capable of, good and bad, like what you truly can manage and handle and accomplish, and how low you can really go. Come on, honey, because I'm a good woman of God. But marriage and divorce showed me, like, oh, I got some stuff. I got some stuff. So, and I think that's the reason why it's important for people to do the healing work before getting into marriages and all that stuff. So, yeah. Well, thank you for your vulnerability and transparency. It's you, because I never talked about my divorce. I had to pull it out of you. Hallelujah anyhow. Right. I'm here for it. Well, let the people know where they can find you. Absolutely. At The Intimacy Firm on all platforms, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, www.theintimacyfirm.com. Yes. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Make sure that y'all tune in every single Thursday at Paging Dr. Shonda on Fox Soul, as well as Revolt Podcast Network. And make sure that y'all follow my girl at The Intimacy Firm. Yes. All right, y'all. See y'all next week. Bye.
The doctor in front of your name.